10 years ago on May 6th, I signed my contract for Vibe magazine on May 6th, 2022. May 6th, 2010, 12 years ago. I wrote on Facebook that if I don't end up being a rapper, I would love to write for Vibe magazine. 12 years to the day that I signed the contract, bro. Like that's
so fire. Yeah, that's fire.
You can go on my Facebook, you can go on my Instagram. It's all there.
Yeah,
it's like it's there.
So you were telling us before that you did a lot of work like prior to even getting to Vibe magazine, like reaching out to them constantly for what'd you say, 10 years you were constantly reaching
10
out?
years I was reaching out to Vibe, and they actually, a little interesting tip. I don't want to say the woman's name, but when she entered, because she's no longer there, but when she interviewed me for the position, like it was like round 2 of the Vibe magazine interview, and she had some papers with her, and I was like, oh shoot, you got some questions for me? All right, let's get it. And she's like, no, I'm gonna read these to you. You let me know if they sound familiar. And she was reading them off, and the consistent words in there were like integrity and honesty and authentic, myself, shit like that. And she's like, does that sound familiar? And I was like, that kind of sounds like what I just said, answering a couple of your questions prior to, this moment. And she was like, yeah, because these are your tips that you sent in over the past couple years, a long time. And she printed out my tips and brought them to the interview. And was like, you've been plotting on this for a minute. And I was like, bro, I have. Like, that's
bruh.
I'm sure she respected that too.
Yeah,
like,
bro. Yeah, she did. She was like, yo, you're ambitious. Like, we like that. You're a go-getter. We like to see that. You know what I mean? So it was just like, damn, this is meant to be.
Yeah.
That's at least what I thought. You know what I mean? So I kept telling him too, like, I've admired Vibe magazine for like my whole life. Like, my sister used to have stacks of Vibe magazines and Complex or not Complex, Jet. Those old joints, oh my God. She used to have mad of them joints up in there. And I used to just go in there and I used to read them joints. I used to listen to her Walkman and fall asleep in her bed, listening to the music, reading those old magazines or whatnot. So I've always been like into Vibe's like voice and direction and everything that they've done and the history behind it. And the only Vibe magazine that I've kept over the years was the March 2005 issue with Gwen Stefani and Pharrell, and he's like posing in the front and she's in the back or whatever. And it was like a dual like interview between both of them, and it was just super sick, man, talking about fashion and whatnot. And I kept that for 17 years. You know what I mean? I stole it from the Buffalo Library, but I kept it. And it was just like, damn, I never thought that I would, like I said, stumble across my dream this early, but it happened. So
that's a fact.
Yeah.
And just even circling back again to like it coming into it, that's the one magazine you kept, and you had the opportunity to sit with Pharrell
bro,
and interview him. Like,
crazy.
Can you walk us through that scenario?
Man. So it all started with me like just covering Pharrell news for Vibe magazine. My editor Chris asked me like, what I'm interested in. I was like, Skateboard P, you know what I mean? ERD, Tribe Called Quest, whatever, blah, blah, blah. And so I've just been getting like, little PR news outings and whatnot from his team, from BBC, from Human Race, stuff like that. And I would cover it, you know what I mean? Just cover it, whatever. And then they started sending me packages. I got like free Human Race, like skincare and shit. I was like, oh, I'm a little influencer baddie now. So
blue check.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Got my blue check bag. And then they were like, yo, are you going to cover like the BBC New York Yankees collaboration? Excuse me. And I was like, of course. I was already going to do that anyways. I didn't have to even sit next to me. I was going to do that. And so we did that, and I wrote that up. And I told her when, she can expect that to be up. And then she hit me like, actually, Pharrell is actually going to be at the game, throwing out the first pitch with his son. Like, do you want to take pictures of him? That is not what I was expecting her to say. I thought she was going to say interview. And I was like, I mean, I'm not a photographer, but I can learn real quick because that's my guy. Like, let's get it. We can do it. But then I was like, yo, I can do that. And I can also possibly interview if that's cool. And she was like, yeah, let me run it by my team or whatever. So my editor helped and we fought for it, and they were like, yeah, we can get you a couple minutes with Pharrell, like 7 to 10 minutes. It was more like 15, but
that's hard.
It was fire. And when I met him, well, first of all, they flew me out to Yankee Stadium. I ain't never been to Yankee Stadium in my life. Stadium is fire. Go and see a Yankees game if you've never seen a Yankees game, you know what I mean? It's electrifying. It's crazy. It was like the Subway Series. It was Yankees versus Mets.
Oh man,
Niggas about to fight and shit over these two, like old white men too. It wasn't niggas. It was old white men going crazy.
Yeah,
and I was like, that's
that.
right. Yeah, that's right. Go ahead. But they was having a good time. I loved it. Anyhow, so I was like, damn, just taking it in, soaking it all in, met some good people. And then when I got on that field, bro, like after we walked through the tunnel and then we like walked up these like stairs and got like, bro, that shit felt like a goddamn baseball movie, bro. I'm like, yo, this shit fake as hell, bro. This is really fake as hell. And then I got on the field and it was just all these beautiful clouds and Yankee Stadium, just big ass Yankee Stadium. You got Aaron Judge and shit like on the big jumbotron going crazy. And it's just, I looked to my right, there's a big crowd and there was Pharrell. And it was just like, yo, man, that's really my idol, bro. Like, that's really like Kanye West seeing Hov for the first, like this was like really, this was that moment, bro.
Yeah.
I'm like, this is the moment I've been waiting 20 years of my life for, bro. Like, and I finally get to speak to this nigga.
Were you nervous?
I was nervous as hell, bro. But then as the closer I got, the more confident I became. Like, cause I don't know why, but whenever I'm uncomfortable, I feel like I've taught myself this. Like, my confidence level sort of reacts to the uncomfortability of whatever moment that I'm in. And it takes some mental training to do, because sometimes when you're nervous as hell, obviously hands get clammy and you skip over the words. But I just felt like the closer I got to him, more inspired I got, because it just validated everything that I've ever said in my life. I said I was going to meet this nigga. I said I was going to write for Vibe magazine. I've never been to Yankee Stadium. I said I would go. It all was happening on the same day. Like, so the closer I got, I was just like, yo, I'm supposed to be here.
Yeah,
and I was the only nigga dressed in bait. I was the only nigga with like Jeremy Lorenzo's Nike Air Fear of God. If he sees this, let me get that partnership. But I was the only nigga wearing all this crazy shit. Everybody else who was interviewing him was like, except for my other mans that I met from WWD. He was pretty fly too. But everybody else there was, you know, no offense, but they're white. And they were dressed in like suits and beige button downs and very just
Corporate
like,
America shit.
Yeah, bro. And I was just like, damn. And he looked agitated, like he didn't want to answer them questions. Like, and I was like, oh shit, did I get him on the wrong day? But then I realized once I started talking to him, it wasn't that he didn't want to answer questions. He didn't want to answer those questions. Because they was asking about baseball and the history of baseball. And I'm like, bro, nigga, this is a BBC Yankees collaboration. This is for culture. Like, this is for streetwear and shit. You know what I mean? Like, one of his prime collaborators is Jay-Z. That nigga probably made the Yankee hat more famous than a Yankee can. You know what I mean? Like, there's a reason why we doing this, why he's doing this. You know what I mean? And I brought the questions that sort of sounded like I was studying everything that he was doing, that I was invested in the collaboration. And he lit up, was excited, he was happy, had the nigga dancing halfway through the interview. He was so excited about the questions I was asking him. It was so cool, bro. Like, he really a down-to-earth dude. So I got to shake his hand and give him dap and shit, and it was just, bro, like,
yeah, that's a moment, man.
It was a moment for real, and I never forget that moment, bro. Like, really talking to this nigga, so